Why, hello! We should continue our conversation on Seneca's moral letters. And just like last time, I will give you an excerpt from letter 15. From Seneca to Lucilius, greetings. It was a custom among our ancestors, practiced even into my own lifetime, to add to the opening words of a letter, "If you are doing well, that's good. I am doing well myself." The right thing for us to say is, "If you are doing philosophy, that's good." Excuse me. For that is the only way one can really be doing well. Without that, the mind is sick, and the body too, even if it has great strength, is sound only as that of an insane or deranged person might be. So care for the mind's health first and foremost, and for the other only secondarily. It will not cost you much if you have resolved to be truly well. It is foolish, dear Lucilius, and unbefitting an educated man to busy oneself with exercising the muscles, broadening the shoulders, and strengthening the torso. You may have great success with your training diet and your bodybuilding, but never will you match the strength and weight of a prime ox. Besides, your mind is then weighed down by a more burdensome body and is less agile as a result. Restrict your body then as much as you can and give more latitude to the mind. Well, that's an interesting view. Let's first say that obviously some exercise is good for us, right? Moving around is good for us. But ignoring that fact, I think the point that Seneca is making is an excellent one, and is one that we need to remind ourselves of. And that is that the whole point of philosophy, remember, philosophy back in this day was an attempt to make sense of life, to learn to deal with the misfortunes of life, the bad things in life, the difficult things, the challenges in life, right? So in other words, hence the statement, if you're not doing philosophy, well, then you're not well, right? These days we have all sorts of other things. We have religion, and we have, not that the Romans did not have religion, but I mean, that is, I think, something that has kind of taken over the philosophy of life, or thinking about a sense of purpose for a lot of people. Or there could be other things, that could be whatever, like whatever is the thing that gives you a certain sense of purpose, I think is what I would say. Now, the thing that I said at the start is something that I do truly feel. I do think we need to remind ourselves of this once in a while. If Stoicism is what works for you, and if you've watched a lot of these videos, then I'm assuming that it is doing something for you, just like it has done something for me and has made certain things in my life easier. But that Stoicism then is not something that you can only practice when things are well, right? If you only like Stoicism when everything in your life is peaceful and quiet, that's not really what Stoicism was meant for, and that's kind of easy, right? Of course, it's easy to say, "Oh, I love Stoicism. It's so fantastic, has done so much for me." Have you had a lot of misfortune in your life? Well, I don't know. I fell off my bike once. It's that kind of stuff that doesn't really fly. It's something that has to be on your mind all the time, right? And that gets translated into different things. It's not just the basic tenets of some things are within your control, some things are not within your control. You have preferred and dispreferred indifference, as we have discussed a number of times. It's not just that. It's not a matter of, well, I'm just accepting what happens to me, and it's the way it is, and I can live with that. It's all those things that you have to keep dear to you, but you do have to do that all the time. Not just when things are okay, but especially when things are not okay. And I think that is something we sometimes forget, and it's easy to forget. It's very easy to love Stoicism when everything in your life is kind of on the rails and it's progressing. It's much harder to remember these things when the going gets tough, right? So I like his statement, Care for the mind's health first and foremost, and for the other only secondarily. It will not cost you much if you have resolved to be truly well. We live in very stressful times, right? Hopefully one day people will watch this video and the whole pandemic will be over. But it is also quite likely that at some point aliens will find an empty planet and will find these videos because we have wiped ourselves out. That is a realistic thing to assume might happen at some point, I think. Not to be doom and gloom, but it's not that we have the world's greatest track record as human beings. Having said that, because that's kind of besides the point, your mental health is very important. And especially in times like these, where stress levels for many people are higher than they have ever been. We're dealing with a lot of things, unpleasant things, scary things. It is very important to take care of your mind, of your body too. We discussed that in the last video, but of your mind as well, right? Because you can be in the world's greatest physical shape and have all the things, the six-pack and the whole, all of that. But as I've said before, if it is war up there, none of that will be to any avail. So I think it's important, and it's something that we really need to remind ourselves of in such stressful times, that we need to take care of our mental health, and we need to do whatever it takes. That could be playing video games, going for a walk, reading a book, whatever it is that works for you, but that does need to happen. And that may need that sometimes work obligations do not take center stage, but you take some time for yourself. It's important. Without doing that, there is a real probability that you will at some point succumb. Things become too much. And that's not something that anybody wants. But it is something to take into account, right? So that level of self-care is very important. So that's just the point I wanted to make. In addition to that, of course, yes, the philosophical aspect of this is important if you wish to try and be stoic with a capital S about things. You do have to remember all those things that I mentioned, of knowing that some things are not within your control, and all of that I think can help contribute towards a solid mental health that can make things easier for you, can make it easier to process certain things, to especially cope, I think, with certain things. But in addition to that, make sure that whatever needs doing is done. It's just maintenance, and that maintenance is very important. Okay, I think that was kind of the point I was trying to make for this letter number 15. I hope this was useful. Maybe you can let us know in the chat. In the comments. This was online teaching default. Let me know in the comments what it is that you do, especially in this day and age, this time, to take care of your mental health. It's crucial. And I think it would be interesting for others to read that as well. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, as always. I hope this was useful. And I'll gladly see you again next week for the final Stoic video of 2021. Bye.